Introducing the Re-Engineered Transcendental Argument for God, Rtag, by Tink. Rtag is a philosophical argument that demonstrates God's necessary existence within the boundaries of human logic, starting from biblical principles rather than philosophical assumptions. It is a refined version of the classical transcendental argument for God, Tag, that corrects its foundational weaknesses while maintaining its core objective. Unlike classical Tag, which assumes the universality of logic before turning to scripture, Rtag ensures that the Bible is the starting point. Tag, ironically, presupposes a philosophical framework that logic is universal before proving God's existence. Rtag corrects this by letting the Bible define the nature of human logic first. The Bible establishes that, Genesis 1:26, man was created in the Imago Dei to rule over earthly creatures, meaning his logic is localized for this purpose, not universal. Isaiah 55:8. God's thoughts are not man's thoughts, meaning God's logic is not the same as human logic. 1 Corinthians 3:19. The wisdom of this world is foolishness to God, showing that even the most advanced human reasoning is still limited before God. Rtag remains internally consistent, avoiding philosophical circularity and ensuring epistemic humility by recognizing that human logic does not fully capture divine reasoning. Rtag employs S5 modal logic, proving that if God's existence is possible within human logic, then it is necessarily true within that framework. However, it also acknowledges that human logic is not absolute and may not reflect ultimate reality beyond human comprehension. Key features of Rtag. 1. Biblical foundation. First, Rtag starts with scripture to determine the nature of human logic, unlike Tag, which assumes universal logic before consulting the Bible. 2. Epistemic humility. Recognizes that human logic is not absolute, aligning with 1 Corinthians 3:19. Man's wisdom is foolishness to God. Third, S5. Modal logic application. Rtag uses S5 modal logic to demonstrate that if God's existence is possible within human logic, then it is necessarily true within that framework. 4. Logic as a localized system. Human logic is not universal, but tailored for humanity's role. Genesis 1:26, correcting Tag's assumption of universal logic. 5. Avoids circular reasoning. By deriving the nature of human logic from the Bible first, Rtag avoids Tag's philosophical circularity. 6. Compatibility with agnostic theism. Rtag aligns with agnostic theism because it proves God's necessity within human logic, while acknowledging that human logic does not fully comprehend God's nature. This allows for belief in God without claiming to fully understand Him. 7. Flexibility across worldviews. Rtag provides a framework that accommodates both theists and skeptics, proving God's existence within human logic without assuming logic is absolute. 8. Affirms divine transcendence. Since God's logic is higher than human logic, Isaiah 55:8, Rtag allows for God's reasoning to be beyond full human comprehension. 9. Corrects the irony in classical Tag. Unlike Tag, which assumes the universality of logic before referencing scripture, Rtag ensures that logic is first evaluated through the lens of biblical revelation. So, in conclusion, Rtag is a more structured, biblically grounded, and epistemologically refined argument than classical Tag. It avoids the assumptions and circularity of Tag, integrates biblical teachings properly, and presents a more robust framework that engages both believers and skeptics effectively. What do you think about this re-engineered transcendental argument of God, or Rtag? Do you think this is more coherent and biblically aligned than Tag. Comment, like, share, and follow me for more.